Hello again. This is a follow-up, I hope short one, a follow-up on the LuckGrib, using the LuckGrib app for local land-based weather across the United States. And the last video showed how to set it up, and I just want to show today how easy it is to come back to the forecast, from once you've set it up. And so again, I'm poking the phone, and you don't see my fingers here, but I'm hitting this app now. And so it comes back looking like this, and then I would go up here. And touch this one, and then weather files here. And so that's what I've set up the last time. And if I want to look at that, every time you do it, you get a new one here. So if all I have to do now is just hit this button the next day, and there's my data. And you double check that this is come down here to the left-hand side. That means that's where the data is, and you see. Oh, there's no wind. It doesn't matter. That's not what we're after. Okay, and so then what we do is you see this. This has a little light blue line around it. This one has a light blue line, meaning if you touch this, it does something. It lets you actually tape a lat lawn for this location, a different one. But we want to just touch this one to turn on the meteogram. And that's the forecast now, the latest one, similar to what we did before. Okay, so that's the way that works. Okay, so I'm going to close that. That's all you have to do. You come back. Wait a minute, let me shut this off. Well, you would just, at that point, you just shut the app off. You would just shut the app off. You come back the next day, you turn it on, you touch that top button, you touch that button, and you hit, there's no, okay, there, and then you get that, and you hit that, and you have your forecast, and you can look at the actual times down here. I'm moving that bottom one with my finger. Okay, so that's the way that works. Now, let me shut that off and show you one other thing. Suppose you have two areas you care about. So let me just start here. Let's say I have a place, house. I have dreams about, let's say, having a house here somewhere in Florida, right? And so I'll go down. Let's see, where would it be? Well, let's just say it's right in this area somewhere. So that's the area I want. And so I go back. I've set up the area I want to look at, and so I can. And then I want to go. This is now a new file. Download a new file. Model, I want that same model. I want, let's say the same thing. I want temperature, precipitation, and wind. Interval every 3 hours. Let's say I want to look at this one every 2 days, for 2 days out. 2 days out, not just one. And then there every 3 hours and so forth. So now I download it. Oh, and now I would just come in here maybe and name this one. Maybe I double tap that and say for caps, Florida, Florida. Okay, done. Start the download. Okay, so now I've got the Florida, and again I go right back and tap this, and so there now I've got the forecast for my dream home in Florida somewhere, and I can watch it. If I'm up north, I can watch it, or I'm in Seattle or whatever, I can watch it, and then I come and so forth. So then I'm done. Now I'm back in Seattle, and I want to look at this one. I would just touch this one. There's no new data. There's no new data on that one because it's there since the last time, and so forth. So that's the way. But now I've got Florida, and I've got this. Oh wait, maybe I touched the wrong one. Oh yeah, there's no new data for that one. I just did it a while ago. This model, remember, this model, which I'm recommending as the best source, this group of models, is updated every hour. Okay, so that's the end of showing just how easy it is to reuse this once you've set it up. Now what I want to do is drag that thing aside and show you something that I did just for a comparison. And this is, when I say that's the best model, then you have to decide that our best source of data. Remember, it's a group, it's a blend of models, it's not just one model. But when I'm recommending that as your best source of data, then you have to test that somehow to see that that's really true if you want to believe it. And so here we have one way to do it, because we took data at some place here. We have a marker that we did here at StarPath, and 0.5 miles away is the lighthouse, which has all this weather data at West Point. So here then I did a forecast last night. And this was at, what time was this? This was at, I think, at 8 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m. forecast I did. So just in the early evening, I just took an 8 p.m. forecast and stowed it on my phone and then forgot about it, just put it away. And then I came back this morning, and I didn't come back till the afternoon after the day's work, and came back and downloaded the data from the lighthouse. Now what I want to do is compare what the data at the lighthouse says really happened today, Tuesday the 19th, that was forecasted yesterday late in the evening. Yesterday. So it's like the overnight forecast to see how well this works. And so what have we got? Let's look at the temperature first. And so the temperature, and then this is at 7 a.m., and it says at 7 a.m. it's going down to 38. And then at 4 p.m., and 4 p.m. during the day it goes back up to 45. So what happened at the lighthouse? So at here is 7 a.m. it got to 39. So it didn't quite get to 38, but look, it did its minimum exactly when it said it was going to have its minimum, right? Right there, it had its minimum. And then at 4 p.m., it said it was going back to 45, 4 p.m., and that's 4 p.m. over here is 45. Now, so that worked. In other words, that was a day out, and it told me right to the hour when the peak temperature tomorrow was. Now, remember, this model updates every hour. So I could have this morning got up at 8 o'clock, and then ran this model again, click, 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 and then I'm going to have a forecast for the temperature throughout the day that's even more precise than what this was. But see, it was pretty remarkable to do that overnight. And now we've got the wind. And so, and wind's always harder, but still, and again, these maps, this data from the buoys, from the lighthouse, is a little tricky to interpolate, but the wind speed the wind speed was not so particularly hot. It showed, the forecast showed it sort of leveling off here at low 4 knots or 3 knots or something, and then somehow later in the morning picking up to 5 or 10. And no, not 5 or 10, 5 or 7. So the actual wind speed that was observed at the buoy over there, sure enough, it did kind of minimize down to almost 0, 2 or 3, at 7 o'clock. It was that way, and that's about the time it started up. But it didn't. The actual wind at the buoy got as high as 10, and then it sort of leveled out here at about 7, and this is about 6 or 7. So it's sort of light air, but it's not totally out of the question. A lot more interesting is it did predict the direction. What happened is this wind right around 7 o'clock. You see, it was light. You see, what do we have here? All this hours up to the buoy here. That's at these line here, and that's at 10, about 10. And sure enough, these guys are about 10 degrees to the right of north, something like that. And then somehow around 6 or 7 o'clock, it started to veer around to the right. And you see, and it did that. This looks like it might have been a bad point, or it veered all the way around and then came back. But if we just forget this for this one data point that swung up here, we see that this wind right around here was around 20. See, at this was about 20, and that's about this angle here. And then it shifted up here in the next hour or two to around 150. This is like 150. And sure enough, these angles right in here, these are an hour apart, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, so this was around 150 in this area. And then it kind of leveled off over here and this is, see, there's 180 and that's 170. And that's not actually out of the south. That's a little more like 170 than 180 or 175. Anyway, so the wind was real light, and that's way harder to forecast if it's a little fresher. But you see, it did a really good job doing it 18 hours out. If I'd have done this if I got up in the morning and then just went click, click and refreshed my forecast, then I'm going to know what the day's weather on my land, on my bike, or whatever I care about. I'm going to know that real well. So that's the end of that demo. Another follow-up, and I'm going to let this go. I still recommend this as a best app, or it's the best app because it has the best source of data, the best data, and also has a very convenient way of presenting it. I'm stopping. I think I'm stopping.